Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Happy Easter. I didn't even know it was Easter until Friday was. I was looking at the gold market, wondering why gold price isn't up, and it was because it was Good Friday. It must be Easter. Anyway, let's look at basketball yesterday. Teaserking starting to figure it out. 2-0 yesterday. We have Connecticut minus 52, and I had the over, which if you look at the first half, I didn't think I'd ever get there. And then I see 89-82, right where it should be. Alabama put up 89 against North Carolina, and they averaged 90, and they hit their average. So they're like Colorado, USC, Alabama. So once you understand that whole concept, then it's easy to assimilate sports. Hey, Greg and John. I think UConn could beat the Pistons. That's for sure. UConn, I haven't seen them, but all I do is look at the score and they win 77-52, and I'm laying 8.5, and I'm a happy boy. So today we only get 68. So I'm looking for a 150-ish from there, but I think it's more of an over. And Duke plays that tough D, so looks for that to be under. Dan Hurley, I never heard from. I thought the best coach was Bill Belichick. He was the. Oh wait, but Brady left, and then he turned into a shit coach. Oh, okay. So that's two today. Surprise. See, I don't understand. I don't get TBS because I don't have cable anymore. I have the internet, and then I have the antenna, and I'm able to get certain channels on Tubi or whatever, or in that network, but I don't have that. So I don't understand why you would put games on networks that nobody has. Sort of like the football games when you put them on Apple or these off, these off the network channels. Like nobody's gonna watch it. Nobody's gonna pay to go. It's a pain in the ass. See, nobody wants the pain in the ass, right? Just let me turn on the TV and turn on channel 2 or channel 7 or whatever channel and watch the game. I don't want to go and have to get a subscription to Apple Prime or Peacock or any of those shit. I don't want to do the work. And it's sort of what the electric cars are going to have. I mean, nobody wants to sit in line. So the point you're missing with the electric cars is the first guy there is going to take him 2 hours to charge. So you're in line now at a gas station. Takes the guy 5 minutes, fills his car, goes, and then you wait 5 minutes. But an electric car, it's going to take an hour or two to charge it if there's enough electricity. Stupidest idea I've ever heard of. Greg and John, they put them on streaming services. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Why do I want to pay and why do I need to get Peacock to watch a football game? Is ridiculous. It's only one game. I can watch it on ABC or CBS or whatever. Happy Easter to you, Greg, John, everybody in class. Have a nice day. Enjoy. It's Russian Easter is May 5th. Didn't hear from Daria. I always get a little frustrated when I don't hear from Daria. This is what my biggest weakness is. So I'm like, I heard from her Friday. I gave her money for shoes. She was going to go buy shoes. And she was off. And then I didn't hear from her the rest of the day. Normally she sends me a picture of the shoes. And I don't hear from her yesterday. And normally I would hear from her in the morning because it's already, like now it's 12 o'clock. It's already 7 o'clock at night, Sunday night there. They're 7 hours ahead. So I'm like, how hard is, see, in my world, how hard is it to text? And in her world, I assume she's working, that she can't. So I don't know. It's like her birthday. She went to the to the water slide place or water park. And then I think I got a text either at night or the day before or the day after. But it's frustrating sometimes. Jenna, she's fine. She's in Germany still. I asked her, I says, well, Germany's broke. How is it there? And she says, well, how's the U.S.? I said, no, we're broke too. Don't kid yourself. I said, the whole world's broke. Nobody has money. So anyway, so today it's hard to pick Duke, NC State. Is Duke the better team? I don't know. NC State just beat Marquette, and they beat Oakland, probably their biggest win. So, I mean, they beat Marquette 67-58. They show a good defense. That's why I like the defense. And Duke, normally a good defense. They got a 66 defense. So I was shocked that it was 55-51 and the other day. They got 100 points. So that's how I look at it. They're both pretty good defensive teams. And then Tennessee, I think they can score on Purdue. I don't know that Purdue – I don't know. I haven't seen Purdue. That's why I haven't really watched college basketball. But the theory holds, right? Alabama, an over team. I bet them over. They go over. Connecticut's the A team playing – who the hell were they playing? They're playing Illinois, who an 84-73 team, not a great defense. And Connecticut's got a much – I mean, Connecticut's an 81-64. The only person that can touch them is Purdue, is an 84-70. And Tennessee's a 79-67. So they're the only two that kind of maybe have a chance. But we will see. Anyway, so there's a few things I want. Well, let's see. What else? What was I watching? So let's talk a little Bitcoin, I guess, if you want. We talked. Let's go into football. Let's go sports, and then we'll go. So the football, again, we've explained it, but I don't mind explaining it again. It's you're looking for a certain thing in a team, right? Most teams are clueless. They try to like Miami, Detroit, San Diego was, where they try to build an offense. And it's predicated on having a good quarterback. Problem is these guys have no idea how to pick a quarterback. It reminds me of like money, how confused everybody is about gold, but how, the MMTs, they just keep printing money. I'll show you that. They don't understand COMEX blocking it, and they don't understand what gold is. And it's the same thing in football. They don't understand you need to have balance. You need a running attack. There's no way you can do anything without a running attack. And it's sort of like basketball. I don't know. I can't talk about Connecticut. I haven't seen them, but Purdue, they have the big guy and somebody on the outside. You need the inside, outside. You need the defense to guess doing. Now, that's key in sports. Baseball, football, are you going to throw or run? If you can do both of those, then the defense has no idea what you're doing. If you just are Dan Marino and you're going to throw, well, I know how to defense you. And if you just a running team, I know how to defense you. Like Baltimore with Lamar, they know how to defense him. That's why I bitch about Lamar and Hurts and these running quarterbacks is they can't throw. So I can defend you. I can just take the run away from you by putting in more safeties, keeping you contained in the pocket. Now you got to throw. Oops, you can't. Okay. So in football, you need the quarterback and the running back. Now, it doesn't have to be Mahomes, right? All I want was Stafford. And then you need the defense. You need a strong. Now Aaron Donald retired, so let's see what the Rams. They might be an over team with Pukanuka. But I think going into the draft, since Donald told him he had retired, he was retiring, they now can go after some good defensive linemen and good linebackers. And they had a pretty good defense. Not great, but pretty good last year. So that's what these teams, that's the design is most of them go to offense because they don't play to win. The Lions don't play to win. They play to try to get the fans, or they try to get the, we'll be high scoring and look at us. And then we keep losing because we don't have a defense, but we don't care. When people come out to watch it, we sell tickets, but you'd sell more tickets with defense because you'd win. People want to see winners. I saw the full UFL game highlights. Looks stupid. The Rock was there. Did he come out and say, "Do you smell what I'm cooking and everything?" He sucked as a football player at Miami of Florida, The Rock. He was a defensive lineman, and then Warren Sapp came, and that was the end of The Rock. I mean, they might as well just make wrestling. The Rock should wrestle Stone Cold every week if you want to draw an audience and make money. I mean, to try to do the football. What bothers me is the NFL is using their kickoff. It's the most confusing kickoff I've ever seen. It sounds like the stupidest kick. So they're going to kick the ball, and nobody can move except the returner, and the ball has to be between the 20-yard line and the goal line. You can't kick it deep. You can't shank it. I don't know what they do for onside kicks. And everybody's supposed to stand there so nobody gets injured. And so the guy's going to return the ball probably to the 35-yard line every time. What's the point? I mean, it's just, I don't know why you're changing it. You're the NFL. You set the trend. People like your product, and now you're making people not like your product. It's just the stupid thing. But I don't like that new kickoff rule at all. Well, that's where they're getting it from. How did that look? Did the guys return the ball to the 40? Is it even a 100-yard field? I don't know. I won't watch that crap, but is it 100 yards and they're kicking off and everybody's standing there? And then how far does the returner get? Does he get to midfield every time? I mean, when you start taking things in the UFL, you got big trouble. You're the leader. You're not the follower. So it's hard to watch NFL. I can barely watch it. I watch it enough on the highlight. I get the highlights, right? And actually, when this is over, I'm going to watch the Alabama-Michigan bowl game in 20 minutes. They have the 20-minute highlight pack. And I want to see this J.J. McCartney. Problem with Michigan is they run the ball all the time. It's the strangest offense. They just hand it off like against Washington. They ran for 4 touchdowns. They just ran. So you have no idea what this J.J. McCarthy's about. He doesn't throw. I think he threw a couple passes against Ohio State that were really lucky. He threw one that kind of tipped off a guy, and his guy caught it and then fumbled, and they didn't call the interception. It was bullshit, but I don't know. But too many commercials. I don't know. We're getting bombarded with commercials. I think everybody's going broke, and I guess they think the commercials will save them. I mean, commercials, okay, there's nothing. I'm seeing idiots dancing for banks now on YouTube, right? I hate that. I want to watch the video, and they start with this sometimes 10, 20-second commercial. There's one with this old man. It's obnoxious. I have to mute it. It's not going to get me to whatever the product is. I don't know the product. And so I just turn off, I just mute it and look away, and then I look back. Is it over yet? But But I mean, what's with all these commercials? I watch Tubi, I'm watching a movie. I was watching Bugsy, and it was like, oh my god, every little section, five commercials, it's very difficult to watch because you can't get into it. What I tend to do is rewind it, and then it doesn't show the commercials because it's already done it, right? So I do that with some of the movies where I just kind of have it on in the background, and when it gets near the end, then I rewind it, and then there's no commercials in it. Too many commercials selling stupid products and stuff. Well, if you think about it, commercials are about marketing. They're about creating a for the product. Words, we want you to buy avocados. So I'll have a commercial about avocados. Well, if I already buy avocados, the commercial is absolutely worthless. They're really trying to get new people to eat avocados. But there's these banks. I don't know what they are. They're like online banks I never heard of. Not Chase and Wells Fargo. They're like, the ABC bank or whatever. I'm not going to go to that bank. That's an online internet bank. The reason we like the brick and mortar bank, I can go in, I can touch my money. I move money around, so I went to get it to buy gold. If I need to add money, I got money in my safe. So when I go add money for rent, I'm walking over to the bank and giving the teller money. I can't put it in a place that doesn't have more. I can't walk into, right? So you get these strange ones. Even like PayPal, I can't give them money, right? And that's the problem with it. See, I'm not giving up my paper. I'll never give up my paper. I don't have a lot in the paper, but the point of the paper is it's in my safe. I can go buy gold with it. That's it. It's not, I don't want everything in digital. What happens if the internet goes down, their website goes down? I'll say for you in these digital currencies in this Bitcoin, what if their website goes down like that Bankman-Friedman guy who did that? Right? All of a sudden the Russians hack it and then Bitcoin you can't get into. Well, I got 500,000 in Bitcoin. Sorry. The site crashed. You don't have anything. I mean, that's the problem. Gold, you can't say that. I got it. It's in my hand. It can never go down. No, my gym's not open today, Greg John. It's Easter. Normally on like some of these holidays, it's open like 7 to 1. It's half day. I think on Christmas Day and Easter, it's actually closed. I don't know why it's closed. It's not a religious, it's a city gym. It should be open till 1:00. I mean, it's a gym. Why are you closed? I mean, it's Easter, so it's a holiday, but why? I don't get why they close. I just baffles me. I don't get a break on my bill. Anyway, I saw this guy open a new sports card shop in Georgia. Was a $4 million facility. Tell me about it, Greg and John. Go in depth. So what do you mean $4 million facility? $4 million in sports cards or what is it? So this guy's the first problem I see, if what you're saying, and I'm interpreting until you answer, is that he's got, the Brady card, the Jordan card, my Mahomes card. He's got $4 million worth of cards. Well, his first problem is going to be selling them. What's happening now is as we're going broke and people are more and more into debt, and so part of your money goes to paying the debt, and the rest of the money just pays your bills, and you're probably being laid off, it's hard. People aren't buying as much. If they do have money left over, like me, I'm buying gold or I'm putting it in my safe, but I'm not spending it on sports cards. There's no point. I mean, I got to hold my money. Now I buy gold. So as everything goes, gold's up to 22.33, closed on Friday, and we'll watch it go to the moon this week. Yeah, he sells all types of cards and old and new stuff. He's a sports card investor. So you're telling me this guy in Georgia opened a sports card shop. I'm not sure what you mean by a $4 million facility. What is that? Either it's a little store and you got $4 million of inventory, or the place it costs them $4 million to buy the store, or it's like a gym, right? So a facility is the store itself. So I can't believe he paid $4 million for the store. So I believe what you're trying to tell me is you got $4 million in inventory in the store. That's what I think you're trying to tell me. So my point to you is this guy's going to be in big trouble. He won't be able to sell any of them. First of all, you're competing with eBay. Secondly, so if I'm not in Atlanta or Georgia, no, I'm not buying from the guy. I'm going to go buy. They better be graded, or otherwise I'm going to inspect them and look for a Montana rookie card for $200. So I don't know, but the problem is people having extra money to buy sports cards with. And keep in mind, they're valued in dollars. And so what's going to happen is they're going to go to zero, and then the gold, they'll be repriced in gold. People aren't going to realize that their Montana card's zero. Yeah, he sells on eBay too. So tell me about this $4 million facility. I don't know what you're talking about. Is it a $4 million store, or it's just a regular store with $4 million in inventory in it? Because when you say $4 million facility, that means he's got a $4 million building, right? Which makes no sense to tie all his money up in the building versus in the cards. But why would I buy from him on eBay? Why would I, if he's got the store, why would he be on eBay? So let's go to eBay. I found a few different cards, put them on my watch list. He has a store full of inventory worth that. All right, so don't say facility then, because the facility means the store. It's a facility. What you want to say is he's got a store with $4 million in inventory. All right, so let's go through my cards. Joe Montana, 1 1/4, PSA 10. Michael Jordan, 500,000, PSA 10. These are the rookies. Nolan Ryan. This is I don't know that it's a PSA 10. Okay, so this is a PSA 9 off center, and it's 118,000. So God knows what the Nolan Ryan PSA 10 rookie's worth, probably close to $1 million. And I found my buddy Willie Mays, PSA 10, 68. I have this card. I think it's close to a 10. I don't know. 85,000. Then I've shown you the Mantle card, his home run. It's 48,000 PSA 10. See, that's not the Mantle card. That's the World Series card with Mantle doing it. Here's the Mantle card, 60,000, for PSA 9. PSA 10 would be over $1 million. Now here's a strange one. We got a Roberto Clemente for 7,600 PSA 9. I have that card too, probably close to a 9. I mean, what I got was good centering and corners, or I wouldn't buy it. I mean, if the corner was nicked, I wouldn't buy it. If it was way off center, I wouldn't buy it. So most of mine are probably close. Here's that PSA 10 Mahomes for only 50,000. Seems like the deal of the century. It is 10 counted. It is a PSA 10. I don't quite get that price. There's a new one. Here's a 68 Mantle PSA 9, 72,000. Now we noticed the PSA 10 Willie Mays was 80,000, and yet here's a PSA 9 Mantle, and I have this card, 72,000. Now my problem is I got to get my cards graded, but here's 72,000. Do you hear 72,000 plus $50 shipping? The other guy was trying to scam everybody, marking his Bitcoin gold piece up to 2,700, which was a joke. So here's Mantle, 72,000 PSA 9. And then here's another Mahomes rookie card. And this one's not numbered 500,000. I'd rather have the one that's 10 count 500,000. This one's not 10 count. So why would I spend 500,000 on it? All right, then we got the Brady for 5 million. See, this goes 4 million, 7 million, 5 million. This guy's all over the place. You know, he's only got one, and he's out for 25 days, and nobody's going to pay 5 million for this card, even though it's a 10 count. Not today. Now, here's what's puzzling. Here's a PSA 9 Mantle for 14.3. I just showed you one for 80,000. This is what we call, we got a two different markets going on. The other one was 80,000 PSA 9. This is 14.3 PSA 9. What the fuck's going on? So what I would do is buy this one for 14.3. Seems like a steal. And I don't know, is it an auction or what? Or is it a buy it now? Yeah, I mean, it's a buy it now. I can buy it now for 14.3. So there's a problem here. Why is this PSA 9 14.3 and the other one's 80,000? That shows you there's multiple markets. It's probably somewhere in the middle. And then the last one is the Jerry Rice PSA 10 rookie, 75,000. Okay, so you could see the Mays 10's 80,000, the Mantle 9's 80,000, and then here's another Mantle for 15,000. You're like, okay, so that shows you there's different markets. Things are priced differently, but just understand that. So that's why you look around, you go, well, why? How's the guy going to sell his Mantle for 80,000 when there's one for 14? You'll buy that if you buy it, but you need extra money to do it. Your rich guys like Warren Buffett are too stupid to do it. These are assets. These are absolutely very good assets to have. Greg and John, nice cards. TK, it's hard to get a 10 graded card from PSA. The problem with these cards is you have to have a buyer too. Well, of course. You can say that about anything. Your house, your car. If you don't have a buyer for your house, it's not worth anything. Some idiot on Bitcoin was saying that. Well, if gold, there's no buyers for gold, it doesn't have a value. That's the point. There is always huge demand for gold. It's been around for 5,000 years. The guy was talking about, you know how I say it's got to be backed by something. The dollar's not backed by anything. So therefore it has no value. Bitcoin's not backed by anything. Therefore it has no value. Gold is the backing. Gold has the value because it's gold. it's worth something. The whole point of the gold is it's gold, and it has a value because it's gold. And the guy's argument was, well, there's demand for Bitcoin, and people, the demand is the backing. No, the demand is the demand. The backing means there's nothing. There's no. It's worthless Bitcoin. There's nothing backing it. Therefore, if nobody wants it, it's zero. Gold's always wanted. Gold. You're talking two different things there, fella. Market is what we just saw, right? Mantle card, 80,000, 15,000. And the what's it backed by? The dollar's not backed by anything, but gold has gold, and Bitcoin has nothing backing it. So they're two different things, but they keep trying to make Bitcoin sound like it's legit. It's just like gold, but it's not. It's hard to get a 10 graded. It's, of course. That's why people pay a lot for 10s, because they're hard to get, because they're more limited. Let's put it that way. To get a Montana rookie card 10 is very difficult because of the centering. Not the corners necessarily. They're pretty good shape. It's the centering's hard to get perfectly, or not perfectly, but you got to get 60-40 centering to get a 10, right? So yes, it's hard to get the card centered, and that means there's only a few of them. And if there's a few of them, that means the price is worth more. So yes, we get that. That's why people pay a lot more for the 10s. The problem with these cards is you have to have a buyer too. Well, but that's a market. A Mickey Mantle certainly has a buyer. So does Montana. So does Brady. So does Mahomes. That's why you go after the big stars, is they will have a market. That's why I don't go after, Joe Dumars. I go after Michael Jordan or Magic or Bird. They have demand, and the little guys just don't. So that's why I say go after the superstars, because they'll have the demand. But of course, you always have to have a buyer. But what you look at is when somebody puts a card up in auction. So if we go into, let's see. So I'm just showing you cards. There's another Mantle, 72,000. And then there's 14th. So they're both PSA 9 Mantles, and yet one's 72 and one's 14.3. Let's try to find. Let's see. Okay, so like here, Tony Oliva, he's got 13 bids. See, it depends how you do your auction. You can do an auction with bids, or you can do an auction sort of a buy it now or best offer, the 118. So the Nolan Ryan, he's selling it for 118, or you can make him an offer. So you're not going to get bids because it's not really an auction. Tony Oliva is see, look at the Mantle. This one's off center and only want 22.98. So you can see the centering. And I'm not really seeing, maybe on the bottom a little bit, but you can see how it affects it. If it's not, people want a perfect card and will pay a lot more for it. And here they won't. And the same thing with the Maze. It's a 9, but it's off center. So anyway, where am I? So anyway, here is a Tony Oliva, $74, 13 bids and 2 days to go. So this could get $1,000. People normally just put a bid in, and then at the end is when they really make a big bid. But there you can see. So if you have a Tony Oliva, a 9, there's demand for it. You can see bids. So there's 3 different types. There's a buy it now where you just say, I want 20 grand for the Mantle card. You either buy it or you don't. And then you have, here's the price or best offer. So I'm willing to negotiate. So I can put it out there for 30,000, but if you offer me 20, it's up to me to take it. Or there's the bidding auction. Now, those are the 3 types. So the bidding auction you can see are there. Now I'm going to take you to, you want to know if there's demand. Well, I'm going to show you the demand. So if we go into the sold, here's how you tell the demand, right? So like here's a 68 Gordy. Now I'm in the sold, right? So there was a market, a 68 tops Gordie Howe, but it's MC. There's a problem with it. It's not a clean one. It got 110. So there was a market for this, but because it was not whatever MC means, I don't remember. Like here's a Don Drysdale. It did sell for 176 PSA 9. Not as much demand as a Mantle or a Mays, but he got 176. Let's see if we have a PSA 9. Let's see if there's a Mantle. All right. So like this card. So this is his Mantle Mays Killebrew PSA 9, 33 bids, 1,650. This is what it's sold for. So you can see the demand and you can see the market. I tend to go here more because what they put up on the sell side is one thing, but this is what there actually is the market. 33 bids, 1,650. So there's demand. It was quite a good card. You've got Mays and Mantle on it. All right, here you go. Here's a PSA 9 Mantle sold for 10,500. So that answers your question. This is February 3rd. So this is pretty recent. So the guy selling it for 80 grand's out of his freaking mind. The guy for 14 is more like it. So the market really for this is 10, 15,000, not the 80,000 the guy's trying to sell it for. So, but because you can see the market, this is what he sold for. Here's where you screw up. This guy put an autograph on it, ruined the card. So it's a signed autograph, but the card I don't think was in good condition anyway. You can see the corners are kind of bad. So if you look at the white on the corners, the card's probably a PSA 5 or something. So the guy gets the autograph on it, and you can see how the autograph hurts the value as he didn't even get 46.50. He accepted maybe, let's say, 4,000. So but I don't think if he autographed this card, it would have killed it. That's why you don't autograph your cards unless they're like this that are crappy. You can see how the white corners, that's how you do it. But you can see there's a market. He sold that, even though it was probably a PSA 2 or 3. But here he's got a nice 9 and he got 10.5 for it. And here, and then you got to be careful. This is not a 68. It's a 2007 reprint of the 68. So when you see that, you understand it. And then you can see the difference. Here's a PSA 1. It's still got 126. There was 22 bids. They got 126 for a PSA 1. So you can see the better the condition, the more money. Here's a 6. It got 575, which I'm kind of surprised it was that cheap. and then you go up to the 9 and that. So that's kind of how the better the condition, the more people are willing to pay for it. And the less of them there are. There's a lot of ones floating around that are damaged, but how many are really, how many 9s and 10s are there? Not a lot. So you want to get, if you got, like, my card's really sharp, could be a 10, probably a 9, because 10s are hard. I understand that. But you can see what I'm sitting on, right? 15,000 or so mantle card. But I'm holding off for the gold value. I don't know. I haven't seen Bobby. I saw him when I came back from sitting in the corner, but he was only on that one day. But Bobby, I don't know if he's busy with that new girl or what he's doing. I've been on weird times. I've been coming on more at 3 because I've been busier in the morning, and then I get to swim at like 12, and then I come home and eat lunch, and then I do the show at 3. And it's a weird time. People are probably out. Although the weekends are pretty 11:30, 12. So I would expect him on today, but we haven't seen him. He has a store full of inventory worth that. He's on YouTube. His name and sports card investor. I don't care. Nice cards. TK, is it hard to get a 10 graded card? The problem with these cards is, okay. Bobby, you out for Easter with the Easter Bunny? Great steam. Okay. TK, if you get your card graded, are you going to trust them with your cards? Well, that's been the problem. Thank you, Greg and John. Well, how much can we trust them? If I give them my, I got a beautiful mantle card, right? I got a beautiful ore card. Do I trust they're going to grade it 10 and give me back my card, or they're going to trade their card? They're going to have one of their cards, and all of a sudden my card's their card, and they keep my card. I don't know how much I'm always looking for the Madoff in people, so I don't really know. It's hard to say. Probably I'll test it, but I think it's a business. I don't know. I mean, if you give somebody $1 million card, if my mantle is a 10, it's worth $1 million. Are they really going to give it back to me? Is my problem. My Montana, if it's a 10, it's 100 and a quarter. Well, let's say 100. But I don't know the rigorous of PSA that it's 100%. You can trust it. They can't switch cards on you. This I don't know. I'd have to ask somebody. I know my friend in Vegas said his buddy sent cards into PSA. He was getting 8s with them, and they were perfect. And are they switching cards or the grading was bad? I don't know. I do have a 10 I bought at a show. It's a Nolan Ryan 1990 type of thing. But I will tell you, you have to get them graded by PSA and not anybody else. You look at a mantle card that's not PSA, and you'll see that, let's say it gets 30,000. And if it's not PSA, it'll get 5,000. So there's a definite thing about getting getting it graded by PSA, not SSG or SGC, even Beckett. So you've got to get it PSA 9 versus the other 9s are, it's not even, it's 15 grand versus 5 grand. So I had a few Derek Jeter rookies that were PSA 9, but they weren't PSA, they were SGC or whatever. And I didn't pay a lot at a card show way back in the day. And I just broke it. I just broke the frame and took the card out. And now I got a mint card that, well, it looks mint anyway. And then I'll get it regraded, because if it's not PSA, it doesn't have a value anyway, a very little one. It's almost like you have no someone who works there to get a 10. Well, it's a trust issue. As we've talked about that, business and girls and everything's about trust. Now, I haven't heard from Daria since Friday. I know she's working because she'll be on, but it's hard for her. It's hard for her to probably read English anyway, and then to do that. So it's hard for her to get time to text me. Now I get a little bit like, okay, when you get home, text me, but she's got her daughter, and who knows. So, but I trust she's not with somebody else. I trust she's with me, but she's just there, and that's the risk you take with a long distance thing. But I trust Jenna too. I know she's not with anybody else. She just texted me. She's in Berlin with her friend Natasha, and she just texted me that. So I'm not worried. I trust they're there, even though we're not together. But that's the way it is. You have to figure out how you can trust them. So with PSA, I might give them a card that, like a Michael Jordan hoops card that I think is a 10 that's worth $200, and see if I get a 10 if I get the card back, or a numbered one. Although a numbered one, they kind of have to give you the card back, because if it's numbered, well, like this one, if I gave them the Mahomes card, it's numbered 41 out of 50. So it's kind of hard for them to not give me this card back, because I can prove I gave you 41 out of 50. Or my Barry Bonds card, I can prove I gave you 99 out of 100. So these are the exceptions because they're numbered. But most of the Montana and the Rice rookies I have, and the Mantle and the Orr cards, they're not numbered. You can't write on the card or it ruins it. So there's really nothing you can do on the card. Put an initial, put TK on it, and then get back. You can't do it. So I know I want to like hand it to the guy, wait a half hour, and get the card graded, but you can't do that. So the only other thing, the problem is, if I said, Greg or John, did you get a card graded? And you say, yeah. It's well, maybe it was somebody that working there, or can you believe it? Let me see. It's so difficult, because it'd have to be like somebody like Bobby, who's got a nice card, sends it in, gets it graded a 10. Okay, we can trust him. It's somebody you got to trust that actually sent it in and got the card back, because I could pull out a graded PSA 9 card and say, look, I got it back from PSA, which I didn't. All my graded cards I bought at the show, so they're already graded. And that's always been my question. Are they actually, if I do have a 10 Montana, are they actually going to give it back to me? Or say, oh, you got a PSA 7 back. And you're like, no, it was perfect. And there's no way I can prove it unless I take a picture of it with the nice corners and the nice centering. And then the card comes back. It's got to be the same corners and centering. All of a sudden the corners are ding. Wait a minute, that's not the card I sent you. Or the centering's off. I could prove that. But that's about it. But you don't want to go through all that. So anyway, so the guy's opening a store. So I assume it's a small store. Now, how'd you hear about it? Is it in the news or what? That this guy's got a store with $4 million in sports cards and collectibles. It's really, during an inflationary time, I would have opened up a gold store, not a sports card store, because people will buy gold as money. Like I could buy the Mantle card or something else, but I want to buy gold and silver, right? See, silver's 20, you can get it for 26 an ounce, it's going to 2,000 an ounce. And gold's boom, boom. Look at last week. It went it's all the way up to 22.33, and I think it'll be maybe 2,400 by the end of this week because I think COMEX has stopped interfering. I finally figured out the key word to explain it. It's the government interferes with gold and silver. How's that? Instead of saying it's not at market rates or it's not at free market, I'll say it's free market, which means invisible hand. There's no government involved. The sports cards are like that. These mantles you see, what I just showed you on PSA on eBay, is free market. There's no government involvement screwing with the price. There could be, like in the case of these stupid digital stuff where the guy bids $69 million on something, that was free, wasn't real, because the guy got turned around, got his money back to try to set this market like, oh, look, you can make 69 million, or Tom Brady trying to sell autographs or pitcher, whatever the hell he was doing. That's why I don't like digital. You've got to understand the basic concept. I want the card in my hand. I want the asset in my hand. A Rolex. Would you buy a Rolex and not have it? Would you buy a digital Rolex and then wonder if another 1,000 people have the same Rolex? Well, that's an ETF, right? You think you have gold, but you don't. So with assets, and this is the problem with Bitcoin, you want to have it in your hand. If you don't have it in your hand, I don't want anything to do with it. They can't prove there's 21 million. You can say it, and you can say it's limited. I don't know if 50 Mahomes are limited because there's multiple 50 Mahomes, but I don't know that 21 million is limited. I certainly wouldn't call it limited. But you don't know how many people, because it's all digital. So you don't know anything. And I love the blockchain. Oh, it's a general ledger account. Oh, yeah, geez, we've never had that before. That cracks me up. But the fact it's digital worries me, because then you don't have control of it. When you don't have control, now you got to trust. It's just like what you're saying, Greg and John. You're trusting that you're going to get the same card back. We don't buy that PSA is legitimate. You're going to get into digital money and think you actually have it. And, oh, wait, the server went down. You can't get to your money. I mean, oh, my God, that's going to happen. It's just a scam. It's a Madoff waiting to happen. Everybody will put their money in, and then the boat sinks. So yes, it's PSA is a trust issue, and I would do it with smaller cards. I have a LeBron James rookie card. I don't know what it used to be worth 30 grand. PSA 10. It's got to be a PSA 10. There's no centering issues, and I don't see any scratches on it. The corners are sharp. I would be shocked if it wasn't a 10, but I got it pretty new. I just knew, oh, it's LeBron. I don't like LeBron, but to get his rookie card. So I got two of them. And so that might be a tester. Okay, I'll test with the LeBron James. It's a 10 and see if I get a 10 back. Now, if you get a 9, the problem is with my friend, he wasn't getting 10s back. They were perfect cards according to him. He was getting 8s and 9s back. All right, that's a problem. Are they really getting their card back, or are they giving them 8s and 9s and keeping the 10s, which is what my theory is. So I don't know how you really get the card graded and trusted without buying it, right? I think that might be another reason that they sell for so much, is for that exact reason, Greg and John. You're sitting there, and we're worried, if I give them the Montana card, am I going to get a 10, even though it looks like a 10? So to not take that risk, I'll buy the 10 for 100,000 because I know it's limited. It's very rare to get the 10, and I don't have to sweat sending them the card and getting it back, and it's an 8 because I don't get the same card back. So that's another risk that I don't have to take by getting one that's already graded. That answers your question. I don't have to take the risk. Am I getting my card back? And that's the shame. I don't know. I don't know how to really answer the PSA question of getting your card back and getting it graded fairly. I don't like that at all. I think there should be a place you can go and watch the guy grade it and get it back. They don't give out 10 much, which they don't give out 10 much, which is weird to me. Well, there's tens. I mean, see, and like 68, 65s in the 80 in the whole 70s and 81, there it was very hard to get a 10 because their quality control was so bad, tops. It was very hard to get it centered. I mean, I got an 83, I got two 83 Walter Paytons, and they're so off center. The 82 Walter Paytons are dead center. Those I think I would get them. Maybe that's what I send in. An 82 Walter Payton worth a couple $100. I paid $5. It's perfect. I got two of them. I got a Montana that's also an 82. Maybe I test it with that, where these cards are definitely, they're perfect cards, perfectly centered, perfect corners, nice. They're perfect cards. I paid $5 a piece for the Paytons and probably for the Montanas. And that would be where I would maybe get, but I probably would get tens back for those because they're not $1 million cards. So that's where I would really have the problem. On the real high end, I would have like this Brady card. Well, see, the Brady card was okay because it's numbered, so they couldn't fuck around with it. So the higher cards that are numbered, I have an Eiserman 1 of 1. Well, they can't fuck with that. They only made one. He can't replace it. Now the question is, do I need it graded? It's only a 1 of 1, so it's not like this is it. If you want the card, there is. So do I need to get a PSA 10 on it? It's the only one you can buy. It's not like you can substitute it for another Eiserman card. So it does make it, interesting. But I think probably the numbered cards are what you can send to eBay, and they can't, or to PSA, they can't do anything with it because you got a picture. This is number 17 out of 50. What are they going to, what can they do about it? They can't give you back 19 out of 50. They got to give you back 17 out of 50. You got the picture of it. Then you would definitely nail them. The other card, like this Mahomes, they couldn't touch it. It's 41 out of 50. There's nothing they can do. Now this card, the Bobby Bow card, it's a 10, right? It's perfectly centered, nice corners, nice picture. However, they could give me an 8 back for it and keep it, and they get the 10, put it in their pocket. And I can't say because it's not numbered. So I can't say, and I can't put initials on it because then the card's ruined. They should have stores you can go to get graded. The quality control is horrible from the processing facility. Well, in the older car in the 70s and 80s, I got all the Steelers from the 70s, not their rookie cards. A lot of 75, 6s, 7s. I got a Stabler and Blitnikoff, 76, 77. And they're all a little off center. All the Pittsburgh, Green and Franco Harris and those guys, all, hard to get dead on centered. There's definitely a centering problem with all the 70 cards. That's why if you do get a 10, it's worth a fortune because there's maybe 10 of them because the way they made the cards, the centering was terrible, which causes the card to either be a 9 off center or a lower grade. Bobby at a 10 is worth $1 at most. Bobby. That card would get maybe $50 for a 10, but Bobby would be the one buying it, or his mother or somebody. Is it from the processing? Yeah, it's whoever made the card. So they have the sheets and then they cut them. So probably my guess is they have the cards, and then when they start cutting the sheets, and see, so there's a big sheet, and then they cut it, and then you get the individual card. And so when they cut it, they didn't have it where it would give you a good cut, because you got to cut this way and then you got to cut that way to get the card out. And they weren't, they didn't know how to do it, or something was wrong where they are way off center, left to right or top to bottom. And that's when they cut it from the sheet. So they do sheets and then they cut them into the cards. Yeah, that's the quality control sucked there. And that was tops, but that was the only thing. Now, when Upper Deck came out in '89, with the '89 baseball, their quality control was great. All the cards were centered. Some of the hoops cards, I'm pulling the 1990 Jordans. A lot of them are a little bit off center, so it's hard to get a real 10 Jordan card in the 90 hoops because some of them are a little bit left to right. So I wouldn't even send those in because they're not going to get me anything. So I'm going to send in a perfectly centered Jordan card. But I got a million of them because the boxes were $10. You'd get 2 or 3 Jordans in the box. And now they're worth a couple $100 only if they're PSA 10s. Anything else, they're not worth much. And I didn't expect them to be worth anything because it's hoops. It's overproduced. There's too much supply, like our US dollar. So it's really about the market, and that's why you go after the superstars. So this guy with the $4 million store, he might, let's say he has Joe DiMaggio or Babe Ruth. Yeah, those will sell because the rich collector who would like that would buy it. The regular cards he's going to struggle with because just having money to buy it when you want to eat and pay is difficult. I mean, people can't buy cars. They're not buying houses. So how do you justify spending $100,000 on a Brady card, right? So it makes it difficult, and that's really the problem with it. It's just vote for me. And it isn't fine, but since they own the media backs them up, and it's all payouts. It's all, they print money and they give it to the media and they do all that shit. But if you are understanding, and we talk about it here, it's all a fantasy. It's all to get elected. Well, why don't you give us sound money in a gold back system? You'd be elected. No, let's print inflation. We'll all go broke, except for us and gold and silver. And, oh, yeah, we really want to elect you again. Yeah, you dug the hole for us. I had a chance to buy an '86 Flair Jordan at my local card shop. They were like $3 for the set when I was a kid. I can't see the 3. They were like $30 for the sets when I have a heart over mine, so I could see the 3. I couldn't see the 0. They were like $30 for the sets when I was a kid. Yeah, that hurts, Greg and John, because there's so many players in there. The question is the condition. Was the Jordan? I guarantee it wasn't centered because he wouldn't put that one in the set. That's what I noticed when you want to get the sets. The big cards are like a little off center. They're not 10s. They're maybe 8s. Yeah, I mean, you need to go back to the future, get a time machine. But yeah, even as a 9, it'd probably be worth a couple thousand, So yeah, that hurts because there was a lot of rookies in there. Plus the Magic and the Bird card and the Isaiah, I think it was his rookie, and Ewing and Malone and Barkley's rookie, because they didn't have cards. 1980 was the last one, the 3 rows, the Bird Magic cards, like, a ton. So they had the 3 rows. Then they didn't have cards in 81, 2, 3, 4, 5. Star came out, I think, in 84 and 85. And then, but all the rookies are really 86. That's like the next set. So they couldn't even put the games on TV. They were on delay because of there was no interest. So all these great players came in just at the right time. They're off center a lot. Yeah, that's my point. They did terrible. See, you're better off. That's why I don't buy the sets usually. The only set I remember buying lately is the 82 tops, because it had the second year, they had a good Peyton and a good Montana. And then they had Lawrence Taylor rookie, Ronnie Lott rookie. Even though he was in 80, they didn't make a rookie card in 81. Montana's rookie was 81, and I think he came into the league in 80, but he didn't play much. But that's the problem with a lot of these. When you get a made set that somebody made, he's looking at them too and taking the real good cards out of it and replacing it. That's why you want to get a factory set. The 89 score, I got a factory set. So I got a very good Barry and a very good Aikman and Michael Irvin. That was a real good set. A lot of good prime times in it. And now is his value going up because of his son or his coach. That we will see. Anyway. So this is what you try to do now. Like I tell Nick, I would get a few Burrows, but I wouldn't pay a lot because he hasn't won a Super Bowl. Right now, I'd be all over Mahomes, ungraded cards, because he's won 3 Super Bowls, and his card will just keep going up. The demand is there. He's won the Super Bowls. But until Burrow wins the Super Bowl, I want to buy him because I like him, but not, I'm not going to pay 10 grand for his card. But I don't think you have to. He was injured, boom. But I would go fish for some Joe Burrow cards. That's about it. I would not buy 1 cent on a Lamar card or a Hurts card or a Josh Allen card. If you listen to my draft analysis for the last 5 years, I basically tell you most of them suck. I mean, I told you Josh Allen sucked. Lamar sucked back when they were rookies. Lamar nobody drafted him until the end of the first round. Do you think Penix is good? I'm the first round pick. Yeah, he should be definitely a first round. He should be one of the first. It should go Daniels, Penix, and Bo Nix should be the first 3 drafted. First 3 quarterbacks. So if I'm Chicago, I might take Daniels. If I'm Washington, I probably want Penix, and then whoever's the next one needing a quarterback, I would draft Bo Nix. Then I would draft Hartman, and I wouldn't waste my time on Drake May or McCartney. I don't understand where Drake May's coming from. He throws the ball a long way. Yeah, he did it in North Carolina too. How many games did they win? 5 games? Didn't he make a bowl game? Yeah, I don't think I want Drake May. He's not a winner. They struggled against Duke. They struggled against Pittsburgh. They got killed by Clemson. He's not a good quarterback. Having a big arm does not make you a good quarterback. So, yeah, look what Penix did against Oregon in 2 games, and he beat Texas. So, yeah, I don't know what you're looking at to not understand he's a good quarterback. Same thing with Bo Nix. He's a great quarterback. And Daniels was putting up points on Alabama until they got cheap shotted. But he beat Alabama the year prior. So, Daniels is good. Caleb, however, the problem I have with him is he doesn't know where he's throwing. He scrambles around and then finds somebody open, maybe after 5 seconds. He's not going to have that time in the NFL. They like him because, oh, look, you can run around and find a receiver. Well, that doesn't work in the NFL. And it didn't work against Oregon, and it didn't work against UCLA, and it didn't work again. Watch the USC UCLA game, right? You still want Caleb after watching that game? Okay. They pressured him. He did shit. He didn't do anything. So I want a guy who came in, who played UCLA and looked good. And I think that's Bo Nix. Rising we want, but he's going to play this year. Rising and Gabriel should be the best 2 next year. And then they'll find somebody out of Alabama or something. Oh, it's good. But that's what you look at. Penn Oregon twice. And the way he beat Oregon the first time, they had the ball at the 50-yard line with like 30 seconds left, and he 2 long passes, touchdown. That's the guy I want. He wins the games for you. That's what you're looking for. Most people don't even know what they're looking for. It's ridiculous. TK, the only issue, how good can they be on a bad team with bad coaching? Well, Penix was on a good team. So was, in the pros? Well, how good can these players be from the draft? Well, they can be very good. I mean, they all start from the draft. Brady was drafted. Montana was drafted. So I understand what you're saying. If they go, like the guy goes to Washington, yeah, he's in trouble, or Carolina, or the Bears, or the Lions, or half the teams, Indy, Jacksonville. I mean, and I love how they hire like coaches that are good for the quarterback, not good for the team, not good for defense, just good offensive coaches. Well, then hire an offensive coordinator or quarterback coach. There's a guy, what was it? The New England coach has 21 assistants. I laugh my head. What do you mean 21? You should have like 4 or 5. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He is 21. This guy's not a head coach. I don't know what he is. New England's not going to win a game next year. They'll be so unorganized. And UCLA, I'm kind of leery about. He hired like 10 assistant coaches. I'm like, what? So I don't know. I agree with you, Greg and John. The fact it matters if you go to see Joe Montana went to Bill Walsh. Beautiful. Phil Simms went to Bill Parcells, and not beautiful. That's where Lawrence Taylor needed to go, but not Phil Simms. Phil Simms sucked. I never saw anything in him. But it does, does the system fit, right? So when you go to Frisco, he makes Brock Purdy. Was Brock Purdy that good, or is he lucky he's on Frisco? Well, they had the other guy, Garoppolo, and he sucked on the Niners. And then the other guy they drafted what a joke that was. I can't remember. He's on Dallas now, I think. He's terrible. The guy, he played 1 year in college, his freshman year, and then they drafted him 3rd because he could run, and then broke his ankle, and then Purdy came in and goodbye. I can't remember that guy's name, but he sucked. I think the GM horrible. I don't think they have a clue what they're looking for. Everybody's saying how good the Lions GM is. Oh, he's the best GM because his third round draft pick's still on the team. But his first round picks are terrible. Taking a running back in the first round is ridiculous. The receiver from Alabama is ridiculous. I mean, it's been one bad draft after another, but they'll say how good it is. Oh, it's a great draft. Why? Well, the players are still on the team. Oh, that shows you how bad the other guy was. He couldn't draft players that stayed on the team. Doesn't mean he's a good GM. But yeah, I mean that's why you need good GMs and good coaches. And a coach has to be good for understanding the talent he's got. The bad coaches say, this is the style I can coach. You got to fit into the box. And then if the guy is over here and he doesn't fit, where's this? So the guy's here, he's in the box is here and he's here. What do they do with him? They don't know what to do with him because he doesn't fit. Well, a good coach looks at his talent and says, this is what we need to run. Right? That's what a good coach does. Or you get a good GM and you say, these are the type of players I need. And then you run it. Like Philadelphia, you got 6 Georgia defensive players on your team, and then you're not running a Georgia defense. What the fuck are you doing? That's the whole point, fellas. If you're drafting guys from Georgia, run the Georgia defense. It might help instead of the Matt Patricia defense that nobody knows what the hell that is. So that's really what you've got to get in sync and get the players that will fit into the defense you're trying to run. If you're not smart enough to run a defense to the players you have and an offense. And the Niners, well, they can figure it out. Casey gets Spagnuolo, and they're going to run Spagnuolo's defense. So that's why they let this guy go. Whoever they let, that corner Snead, he probably didn't fit into the defense. He was good, but that's because of the defense. And they probably have another cornerback that they've already drafted who's fits into the defense well, that they're able to let this Snead go. He wanted like 18, 19 million a year. You can't. You got Mahomes and you got Kelsey, and then you got Neil Smith, the defensive tackle. You can't pay everybody $20 million, and that's why they let the Tyreek Hill go. You can't pay Mahomes and Kelsey and pay Tyreek Hill $30 million, and they haven't missed a beat. All right, they lost to Cincinnati, the one championship game, and then they've won the last 2 Super Bowls, mostly because last year because Burrow was out. But that's the key to it is keep Spagnuolo, and then just what do you Spagnuolo, what kind of cornerback and safety and defensive lineman, and they pretty much he's aggressive, so they just get aggressive guys and it works. So they look, they won't miss Snead. But then whoever got Snead, I think Tennessee, won't know what to do with it. He won't be good there because it's a different fit. It's a different look. It's a different defense. He's got different secondary around him, different linemen around him. It's very hard to do free agencies because they might look good, let's take, Lynn Swan's bad, but let's take Dwight Clark. He looked great with Montana and Wallace, but if you put him on Dallas, he probably wouldn't have been good at all. But he was good with Montana. So he fit with Montana, but not maybe outside Montana. However, Montana goes to Kansas City. I can't believe they let him go. And then he lights them up, and he's good there. See, the real superstars are anywhere. The Montana's the Brady wins at Tampa. Tampa couldn't even make the playoffs. They get Brady, and they go winning Super Bowl. So he basically said, I'm running my offense. Thank you very much. And then without Brady, Belichick was terrible, and this Tampa guy is terrible. And again, he's using the wrong quarterback in Mayfield. See, they're not giving Trask an opportunity, and that's the problem. Why not? He lights up. He played for Florida. He lit up Alabama for 45 points. He lights up everybody. He averaged 45. What exactly are you? Why aren't you playing this guy? It just is amazing how stupid these guys are because they're not running the right offense for him. He needs to go to a team like Denver. Denver should trade for him. With Sean Payton, the guy would light it up. And that's where I question Denver not trading for this guy. Well, he hasn't played before. Did you watch him in college or not? Same thing with Hooker. He needs to play. He'll be okay with the Lions with this offensive coordinator, but you're stuck with Goff, who choked in the Dallas game, and he choked in the Niner game. They should have beat the Niners. Look at Mahomes. He was down. He tied the game up at 19 in the Super Bowl, and then he wins it with the touchdown. That's the difference. I mean, where were the Lions with the 24-7 lead? How they got 24 on them, I don't know, but then they couldn't hold it. Their defense let them down, but where was their offense in the second half? They still had 24 until 2 minutes were left. That's the problem. It's winning the game, not, well, yeah, it was, I threw good. I threw for 2 touchdowns. Did you win the game? No. Well, then that's the whole point, winning the game. So that's why we'll keep an eye on the draft. And as you're saying, Greg and John, whoever goes to Washington's in big trouble because I don't even know who the coach is. Same thing at Philadelphia and Minnesota and half these teams. You think Kirk Cousins is going to do anything in Atlanta? Who's their offensive coordinator? At least they got a better quarterback, but I would not have I would have traded and gotten Penix or Bo Nix, and you're way ahead than trying to win with Cousins, who has proven he's not a good quarterback on Minnesota with Jefferson. Surprised Jefferson's still at Minnesota. I'd love to see him go to Cincinnati as a free agent. God, that would be. Put him with Chase and Burrow, and they put 50 points a game up, and nobody could beat him. I hope they get Brock Bowers. That's my Christmas wish. Cincinnati gets Brock Bowers. God, that would be amazing. We'll see. If he's still there, they got a good draft pick because of Burrow's being injured. So we will see. Some linebacker left Philly to the Jets for some draft picks. Okay. The Jets, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers plays, they're as good as anybody. He's still Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, it was Achilles, but I don't know. I assume they heal. And if he's good to go with that defense, the coach, they got it all. They got running. They've got receivers. Yeah, I never heard of the guy. Grenick, I don't know. They make a big deal out of him. I never heard of him. So he leaves Philly to go to the Jets. Well, who's their defensive coordinator, Philly? They don't have one. And you got Hassan and you got the guy for Niners as the coach of the Jets. He's a great defensive coach, so that's fine. I wouldn't mind if I was a defensive player. I'd go to the Jets because they got a great coach. It's just if Rodgers plays. I mean, as long as Rodgers plays, we're going to the playoffs. No question. They'll kill Buffalo. And I think they beat Buffalo week 1, didn't they? Yeah. They beat Buffalo, and New England's terrible. And Miami, they'll have no problem with Miami, with Miami's defense. And Miami, we know how they are against good defenses. Tagovailoa hasn't beaten a good defense since high school. He's hysterical. Hi, Charles. Where am I from? Where I live is in Michigan. What do you have? Questions, comments? Welcome to the class. This is a football class, but we also get into gold and economics, and I kind of try to teach with fundamentals that explain what I'm teaching, not just saying, this, that, and the other that you can't explain. Near Detroit. Nobody lives in Detroit. It's too dangerous. Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure why that's interesting, but I'll take your word for it. So the draft's coming up, and it's really how they mold the players, right? So Bo Nix should be very good on the right team, as Penix should. Now, Caleb, he's going to go to Chicago. Well, can they handle that? I mean, he's good in the USC offense, just like Hurts and Kyler Murray. Hurts not good on the Philly offense, and Kyler is running all around on the Arizona offense. So that's the key to it. That's why I like Hooker should be starting. We know Goff couldn't be good with McVay's offense. What chance does he have with this offense? So it's a good balanced offense. The Detroit runs good, Montgomery, and then the receivers McLeod and and the offensive coordinator. Their offensive line is okay. It wasn't okay when they played in the Niners and they kept getting sacked and the fumble, but nobody will look at that. Let's look at how they played against Carolina and Atlanta. And again, it doesn't win. What wins for you is defense. They need a good defensive coordinator. So with that said, most of these teams need to draft defense. Except for the teams that just have, but even these teams with a bad quarterback, like you just said, Greg, what are they going to do with it? Okay, we draft Penix. Well, can we develop him and learn and teach him our system so he's good? Or are we not going to teach him, right? I mean, look at all these quarterbacks that suck. They're all overrated too. Richardson and Young, these are not good quarterbacks. And they go early in the draft, and you wonder why they suck because they're not good quarterbacks. Young didn't show me anything at Alabama. He ran against Texas on the last play of the game to get him into a field goal. Why were you behind? And then he got killed. He lost LSU. If he would have played Georgia, he would have gotten killed. So I don't see where he's like the guy, right? He's the man. Anyway, anything else on football? Really, I mean, it's you want teams like KC, Cincinnati, San Francisco. Forget Baltimore needs a quarterback, but they won't admit it. They won't admit that Lamar is not it. All I can say is 17-10 Kansas City in a home playoff game, he throws for one touchdown. And that's the bottom line. That's the problem with Lamar. Mahomes gets 17 and just sits on it and puts it in neutral and eats the clock. And by the way, he wins another Super Bowl. Lamar will never win a Super Bowl because you can't beat a team with a good defense. Anyway, these guys don't know what they're doing in the NFL. So we'll go through the draft as we go. Drake May, I would not even draft the guy nor JJ McCartney from Michigan. These are undraftable. These are second stringers at best. And, maybe they're better than who are the Atlanta quarterback, Riddler and Heineken. Yeah, they're probably about that. Right? They could maybe beat those guys out. That's about it. This will be interesting. Who's stupid enough to take May and McCartney in the first round and leave Hartman and Bo Nix and Penix alone? They'll see. They did it last year. Hayner and Stenson Benson from Georgia and Hooker. The better quarterbacks went later, and we're still waiting for them to play. And they play. Watch Richardson. All right, over under how many games Richardson plays for Indy this year before getting hurt? 3, maybe 4, and then he'll get hurt. Anyway, I think that's it. Basketball again today. We're taking Duke 6.5, 142.5. We're going under. And Purdue, Tennessee, Purdue 3.5, 147.5. We're going over. Yesterday we had UConn minus 8.5, a W, and we had Alabama, Clemson over 164, a W. And I didn't think I was going to get the W in the Alabama game. The halftime score was like in the 30s. I'm like, that's what's funny. And in the first half they scored like 60 points, and the second half they scored like 120. It's crazy. So, you think, oh, good, this is, I don't have a chance. This game's going to stay low scoring, and then boom. And then some of these other games. I mean, look at the Houston Duke game, 54-51. Are you kidding me? But I did have the under in it. So we'll see today. I think they are on, I think it's 2:30 and then 5 o'clock on CBS. So we all get to watch it on Easter Sunday. Now, there's a few things I wanted to show you. There's a Bitcoin thing I wanted to show you. First, there is this. The UK is collapsing, and it's all because of their debt. They have a lot of debt. Sounds familiar? They're not alone. The US, Brazil, Argentina, China, Germany. It's almost easier to name countries that are fine because there isn't any. So you can see the problem you have with the debt and the taxes and the spending. It's really just nuts. But you can see it's the whole world because they're all on paper dollars. Now, there's one I wanted to show you. Just a second. Crypto exposure. Okay, there's one I just want to talk about. It's just real quick on economics.
People market. Well, I just find that very interesting. The other thing to say about it is, and change my mind, and I'll come on your show and admit that I changed my mind.
I'm going to explain this to you.
Larry Fink and BlackRock announces that they're no longer taking their payments in cash, but everything they're taking it in Bitcoin, including this 40 million or 80 million, whatever he's getting a year, that he's decided to take it all in Bitcoin. When he does that, I'll rethink my Bitcoin. Until that time, I'll stick with my thought. I wouldn't run out. I feel more comfortable in the mining sector right now, but I wouldn't be against holding anything that was oil related. I think natural gas has more of a challenge, quite frankly. But oil, I think I would own an oil stock before I'd own a technology stock right now. Focus should be, if you are going to be bullish, is continuing to be overweighted in the producers and the people that own the physical product. And the pure expiration ones have to be the smaller part of the portfolio. And people have it reversed. They've loaded up on the most highest speculative ones.
Yeah, I heard something about it, Greg and John. Just a second.
Hey guys, welcome to Capital Cosm. Today I have a special returning guest in the form of Peter Grandich. Peter, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Most enjoyed our first one, and I suspect I'm going to enjoy this one too. Likewise, Peter. As always, nothing.
I never heard of this host or either of these guys.
So please do your own due diligence.
It's the first 2 minutes.
Right into it. What is your overall view of the markets right now? So on January 1st, as I entered my 40th year in and around the financial arena, I said it was time to build an arc. I really believed that there were multiple factors, but 5 particular ones that really concerned me, that within 3 to 5 years or less, the United States was going to be in the midst of its absolute worst ever social, political, and economic environment. I'll just give you the five. If you want to go into any of them, that's fine. The first and foremost, everybody's talked about it. It's now so pronounced that even Wall Street titans are talking about it, and that's the runaway debt. We just can't keep adding trillions of dollars into debt because we're getting to the point where servicing the interest rate based on known expectations of income for the government is going to, but I haven't heard back from it yet. But that would be.
Well, I was listening to him about the Bitcoin. He says he doesn't like Bitcoin. Yeah, I heard about Otani. So he's gambling. So he makes $40 million and he's gambling. Okay. Good luck, fella. This is the problem when you have these gambling sites, DraftKings and everything as your sponsors. I mean, it's insane that you would let gambling when you're a league against gambling and you have gambling sponsors. What are they, fucking idiots? I think so.
The area we would go to in this dire time, and it's worse off than the others. So it's for my business. There's a planning business that I'm involved in here. Most people don't want to hear this. Even the people that might be hard asset oriented, it's a very tough sled that I see coming, and I understand why a lot of people don't want to hear it. But what I hear from a lot of good friends is, Pete, I know you're right, but I'm praying you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds very somber, Peter. Rightfully so as well.
Okay, that's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted.
First off, if you haven't made money with AI yet, don't worry. AI is the biggest.
It's no longer news that people all over the world are getting poorer. Hey, you might even be one of those who have been forced to battle economic situations out of their control. The funny thing about situations like these is that they affect everyone. Yes, everyone. Countries too. In fact, the United Kingdom is facing a debt problem that will have you thinking, maybe my Uncle Richard with debt issues isn't that bad. At the end of this video, you will have a pretty solid idea of why Britain might become a third world country if they aren't careful. The national debt of the United Kingdom is so huge that it is now estimated to be the same as its actual economic revenue. This is the first time this has happened since the country made a surprising recovery from its World War II debts. Britain owes a staggering amount of around £2.57 trillion, and it still borrows up to £20 billion a year to cover up its deficits. There is only one way this road is taking them, and it doesn't look nice. As interest rates go up, paying off debts becomes more expensive. Think about it. For every £100 a Brit pays in taxes, £10 is used to pay interest on what the country owes. That's a big chunk of money. Is this really the best way to spend it? For the last few decades, as the West's debts kept growing, economists have told us not to worry. To battle the rising debt, they came up with this idea called modern monetary theory. Basically, it says that countries can borrow as much as they want because they can just print more money to pay it back. And that's kind of what the Bank of England, US...
Okay, so that is Keynesian. And look at the trouble Keynesians got us in. MMT, modern monetary theory, is just Keynesian. They're saying just print money. Well, what have we been talking about for 3 years? The more you print, the less it's worth. So how do they think you keep printing money? They miss the whole concept that you make the money valueless. What the fuck? So this is what the U.S. and the UK are doing, are using this MMT model, which is why we're all fucked, because it doesn't work when you have a lot of money. The more money you print, the less it's worth. But they can't. They think, oh no, just keep printing and that'll pay everything. You'll just keep paying if the value stayed, but the value doesn't stay. You print $1 trillion, it's now worth less. And I wanted to share that with you. So this is the problem with the UK and the US. They're totally got their heads up their ass. They're like a bad NFL team. They don't get that you need it's like the Lions. You need a good defense to win, and they don't. And the MMT is Keynesian. That's what that Jim Richter uses. And he's so full of crap. But this is the problem, right? You can't use that. That doesn't help you. You know, that hurts you because you keep printing money, makes it worth less. That's what And that's what the euros are doing. So the euros, the UKs, and the dollars are all printing it and keep thinking, well, just print more and more and more as it becomes worth less to us. And that's why gold's going to the roof. However, the Russians and Chinese and Indians and BRICS go, no. You buy gold. You don't print it to death. The question I have is, how does MMT get into the situation where everybody's listening to it? Are you kidding me? Why are you listening to MMT? Where did Adam Smith is the correct view? Why aren't you using that? Why are you getting away from Adam Smith? And then somebody creates this new Keynesian thing and you're all using that like that's the answer. Well, that's not the answer. It's terrible advice. And that's what's happening. That's why we're in the problem we are. They keep creating debts and then they print money, which makes the money valueless. So the money is worthless. So the way to get out of it is to buy gold, even though you've totally fucked the UK, the euro, and the dollar. You've totally fucked it by printing. Just wanted to say that. And the answer is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, this Larry Fink keeps, first he's like, no, Bitcoin. Then he buys it. And now he's like, yes, Bitcoin. They keep referring to Bitcoin as gold. And in what world is Bitcoin gold? Gold, I can put in my hand and have it, and it's got a value. Bitcoin, at what point how is it gold? And why you say it's funny is they compare it to gold. Oh, it's digital gold. It's digital gold. He says that in here somewhere. Like here, Larry Fink, crypto gets golden endorsement. It's like gold. I wouldn't trust this guy. I can't believe he's still alive. What this guy's doing. This guy's terrible. This BlackRock guy. Never listen to him. And it's funny is he's just a salesman. He would sell houses. So how has he got any saying? He doesn't. He's not an economist. He's not in our world, in our class. So in no way is Bitcoin gold. And as I've said, there was one show I was watching yesterday where the guy's trying to explain that Bitcoin is backed. Now, the problem with Bitcoin is the same with the dollar. It's not backed by anything, meaning it's worthless. And yet he'll go, oh, no, it's backed by the people who want it. Well, that doesn't back you. That's how you get a market, but that doesn't. Bitcoin has no value, just like the dollar has no value. Gold has a value because it's gold. Gold's got a value because it's limited. You can't print it. The dollar gets printed, as they just showed you, as the euro in the UK. Keep printing to pay taxes and pay all the shit, and it doesn't work because you've printed so much of it, it doesn't have a value. So just be careful out there listening to these idiots. They don't know what they're talking about, but they make it sound like they do. And you go, oh, yeah, well, if Larry Fink says Bitcoin's good, I should buy it. Yeah, he wants you to buy it because the price goes up. And then when he sells it, he's going to screw everybody. And the same thing with the dollar. If they print it, that's why you want the BRICS, because they're going to back it by gold. It's going to have a value. Gold is a value because you can't print it. All these dollars don't have any value because they keep printing it, and Bitcoin has no value because it's not backed by anything. It's just computer stuff that I can't even explain, but it's no value. So if you want to buy it, you have to have the intention of getting out, and don't think it's just going to go up. I hope you're not that naive. All right. Greg and John, TK baseball has started. Did you hear Ohtani gambling? Yes, I heard Ohtani gambling, or his interpreter or whatever. What a joke to pay that guy that kind of money and to play him at outfield. You got to be out of your mind. Pete Rose says he should be in the Hall of Fame. I agree. He should not. The Hall of Fame should be for players that played. Barry Bonds, how is he not in the Hall of Fame? Alex Rodriguez. The fact you use steroids does not discredit your ability. I could use steroids. I couldn't hit 700 home runs. Bobby could take steroids. He can hit 700 home runs. It doesn't help you hit. It doesn't help your hand-eye coordination at all. So it's just stupid. Anyway, absolutely. Pete Rose with 4,000 hits should be in. Barry Bonds should be in. Mark McGwire should be in. Roger Clemens. I mean, to use steroids and say, well, if they didn't take steroids, Barry Bonds wouldn't have hit 750 homers is insulting. The guy was a great hitter before. Yeah, he took, but but they were legal at the time, as did Mark McGwire and as did Sammy Sosa. So I think it's stupid to keep him out of the Hall of Fame when half the guys you got in there are a joke anyway. Look at the Football Hall of Fame. Half the guys are a joke. They're all from the networks voting each other in. None of them should be in. Marshall Faulk, Michael Irvin, give me a break. Some of these linemen, no, they're not Hall of Famers. They're good players. They're not superstars. Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, yeah, but not. Yeah. So Pete Rose, I agree. The fact he bet on again, what does that have to do with him being in the Hall of Fame? He was a great hitter, and should be in the Hall of Fame. I agree. Now, why was he betting on it? And well, here's the difference. He's betting on his team to win, as did Paul Hornung on Green Bay in the 60s. He only bet on the Packers to win. I don't see any problem with that. The problem was this other idiot who we talked about who's betting against himself, taking the player prop and saying, you know what, my player prop tonight is I'll score 20 points. I'm going to bet it under, and I'll bet it heavily under. And then after 2 minutes, I'm going to fake an injury and I win my bet. That guy should be thrown out of the league. Pete Rose, it was wrong. It wasn't good to gamble, and I don't know why he had to, but at least he always bet on Cincinnati. So he's not fixing the game. He's just managing to win. Paul Hornung only bet on the Packers. He said, I know we're going to kill them. So I made a bet going, we're going to kill these guys. And they'd win by 30 and he'd win his money. But he didn't. It's when you do what you did in The Gambler, when you say you can win, but you can't win by, your spread's 8, you can win by 7 and no more. Now that is the problem with gambling on sports, is the point shaving. It's not a good product. Okay, that's your problem. So that's what you need to keep out of that's why you got to keep gambling out. Pete Rose, why did you bet? Really? You needed to bet? You couldn't wait till I knew we were going to. So have your son bet it, or, somebody else bet it. Why would you bet it? This is the part I don't understand. Just, have somebody else bet it. These guys on the Lions all bet. Dude, you're making millions of dollars a year. Why are you betting? It's insane. But yes, I agree. Rose should definitely be in the Hall. It makes no sense he's not. You want to see, this is the problem. They want to punish these guys. Oh, wait, Barry Bonds, you took steroids. You can't be in the Hall of Fame. They were legal. What are you talking about? When they did it, they were a legal drug, and the league didn't say you couldn't use them, and the government didn't say they were illegal. So what's the difference between that and drunk and getting drunk? I mean, come on. So yes, very, very. So I went to the Hall of Fame, and I don't see Pete Rose there, and I don't see Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds. I'm like, what kind of Hall of Fame is this? I did go to the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto way, way back just to see Bobby Orr's stuff in there. But this was in don't get these people who, if this is backed by gold, yes, but it's not backed by anything. It's worthless. That's why it's about this. That's why it's lost all its. That's why we buy gold, because it's gold. It can't be printed, and it's worth a lot, much more than they're letting it, and they control it and manipulate it. So my new word is that the government interferes with Bitcoin. And the football cards we looked at, the Mickey Mantle, that you see on eBay is not being interfered with the government. It's free market. There's a buyer and a seller. Gold is being interfered with. That's why it's not free market. That's why we want laissez-faire, invisible hand. Keep the fuck out of it. Let it go to it. And that's what we need. Happy. Okay. Hello, Dad. Okay. True Boy. I don't know. You're a new one. Welcome to the class. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask them, as long as it's related to the class. So this is the problem with when the government gets involved. It's not free market. Gold is much higher than it is. This is why gold's starting to move, but silver isn't. The government's still interfering with it. It's not a free market. It's not a true market. That's what you got to be careful. Now, BRICS is coming out with a gold-backed currency, and then nobody will want the dollar because the dollar's worthless and the gold is you can't print it. So what would you rather be in? And don't say Bitcoin. We don't know what Bitcoin is. It's just a digital thing, and it has no value. You don't know it's limited to 21 million just because they say it is. It's the same thing as PSA. PSA, what are they doing? So PSA sits there and is that your kid, Greg or John? Everybody knows Greg or John. So who's dad? And then Greg or John. Greg or John's fine. So keep that in mind. The government is getting out of interfering with gold, and they've gone to interfering with Bitcoin, and they still interfere with silver. So that's why once the silver gets going, you won't have the interference. It'll be fine. And that's why we buy gold and silver, because we know the interference is ending. Then it's going to come free market, and then everything will be fine. What else? So this Larry Fink, everybody he's just a control freak. He's not smart. His background's real estate, not an economist. So I don't know why anybody would listen to him. Anyway, so the UK is another country going out. What else? So you're better off in gold than Bitcoin. Just understand gold, you actually put in your hand and you have it. And that's much more valuable than something you don't. Oil also is something controlled by the government. They are interfering with that price, with their derivatives, in COMEX, they're interfering. So COMEX is getting out of the gold, they're getting out of silver, and they're going into Bitcoin. So don't get caught. Bitcoin's like Madoff. Don't get caught in it. Madoff was a Ponzi scheme, and finally he ran out of money. And in Bitcoin, it's I don't know, what is it? Tell me what it is. It's a bunch of code. You're buying code. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It's good if you make money in it. Take your money and get the hell out and buy gold with it. If you're smart, if you're a real professional, you'll do that. If you understand. If you don't understand, then you're just going to sit there and keep buying Bitcoin and holding it, going, oh, it's going to go to 1 million. And even if it goes to 1 million, it's in dollars. These aren't worth anything. That's the real Ponzi scheme of the whole thing. Even if you do keep it, it's not worth anything. It's dollars are just printed paper that aren't worth anything. So if you have 1 million, it's just like having monopoly money. It doesn't really help you. What else? The pool's closed today. Unfortunate. I talked about that earlier. I don't get why they're not open. It's a gym. It's a rec center. I want to go swimming on a Sunday. I don't really get why they close it. But they do, or maybe close the pool or leave the hot tub open or something, but whatever. They always seem to, oh, we'll close on a holiday. We'll get our day off too. It's funny. This Russian war, it's already won. Russia's won it. I don't know. France, I think, is upset because they got kicked out of Africa where they were stealing all the gold and minerals in Africa. That's what this whole thing's about, is the gold in Africa. And they're stealing it. And then now they've got military leaders, and now Russia's backing Africa, chasing the French out, which is why the French want to invade, want to join Ukraine to fight the Russians, because they can't just go to Russia. I mean, that'd be crazy. So that's what's happening with that. And keep that in mind. The U.S. is getting kicked out too. They're crying, "Oh, let us stay. We don't need you. What do we?" Well, we want to keep stealing the gold. See, the U.S. just sticks their nose in everybody's business. It's ridiculous. Worry about the U.S. We have enough trouble here with the open border, which is big problems because it's more terrorist cells coming in from the Middle East, from China. These people are coming in on purpose to cause problems. So anyway, not good. Anyway, what else? So we got basketball soon. We got football coming up. We got stay away from Bitcoin. It's not. What else can I talk about? Anyway, try to learn everything. Try to understand it. Like, if you're going to explain gold to somebody, they're not going to. Well, let's talk about trust. So the whole key is trusting, right? Why don't people listen to you when you tell them to buy gold? They don't trust you. I had that guy in the locker room. I don't know who you are. I don't trust you, or I don't know who you are. So that's a trust issue. That's why don't you ask me instead of just how many guys are coming up to you saying buy gold? I don't get anything out of it. I'm not selling it. I'm just I'm trying to help you. You know what? I'm done trying to help people. Just the class and my close friends. Otherwise, I'm not going to help anymore because there's no point in it. It's ridiculous. People are very stupid who they trust. They'll trust people. Like, are you going to trust like this Larry Fink guy because he does this and he goes all in crypto? He's not all in crypto, but he wants you to come in because it's a Ponzi scheme and price will go up. So he's trying to get the price up because he's in with his ETFs. So just keep that in mind. You want to be careful with it. You want to understand what's going on. So crypto is not the place. None of it is. None of it's money. None of it's backed by anything. Now, if they had a gold-backed crypto, I could see that, but I don't like anything digital where I can't touch it. These CBDCs, be very careful of. I don't know what's going on with the bank, but as long as I can, if you have a choice of dollars and that, keep the dollars, unless it's backed by gold. But they won't come out with anything backed by gold because they don't have any gold. As I said, in the money heist ending, when they got out because they exposed they had no gold, and the country was going broke, Spain, and then they faked it by sending brass back in, but everybody thought it was gold. And they got out because they said, if you kill us, we'll tell everybody that it was brass, not gold, and you'll be bankrupt. And once people realize the U.S. has no gold, they're bankrupt. I don't know if that's the trigger to it. If people actually think we have gold, but we don't. We don't have any. So we are bankrupt officially. All we have is worthless money. right? And the debt is just monopoly money. So we owe 34 million pieces of paper, or 35 trillion, sorry, $35 trillion in debt to other countries. It's just paper. Everybody's fucked anyway. I mean, what's the difference? So keep that in mind. It's not real, but none of the money's real. So as all these countries start realizing, the euro and the UK start realizing their money's worthless, that's the Ponzi scheme. People think the money has a value. It doesn't. The only money with a value is Zimbabwe because it's backed by gold, and then BRICS will come out with gold back. That's why the U.S. doesn't want them to come out with a gold back, because then everybody will realize that their money's worthless. But BRICS is going to do it anyway because you keep pissing off Putin. So, of course, he wants to de-dollarize. Oh, there was one I was looking at yesterday. I didn't get a chance to watch. It was 47 countries. Oh, here, 21 countries. There you go. D-dollar, 21 countries ditches the U.S. dollar. I haven't had a chance to watch that one, but I will. And I'll put it on the list. So that's the beginning of it.
What about drinking approach to international trade and finance?
So you have 21. So 21 countries are off the dollar, and it's going to be another 30 or 40. They're all going to leave the dollar, and then once BRICS holds the gold back currency, which is May 14th, they've got the green light. They're going to go ahead and announce it. It won't get into action, I think, then, but it'll be announced that it's going into action. They'll probably be third quarter, let's say. And that's it. Then gold goes through the roof because the value has to go up because there's only so many, all these people want it. It has to have a higher value, and it won't be controlled by BRICS or by COMEX. COMEX is interfering with the price of gold and silver. Nobody understands that. They don't understand it's paper gold and it's being interfered with. So you got to understand that. Anyway, I will watch this and report back to you tomorrow. I think it's time for some baskets. NFL will keep an eye on what's going on there. This guy with the gambling, Shotani, like, what is he? Did he? I don't know, because he doesn't talk English. So there's this interpreter. Well, maybe get an interpreter you trust, because this guy, who knows what he's saying. And Shotani, to me, you just wasted all this money. They should kick him out of the league for gambling, just like they did Pete Rose, and like they do with these other players. Why are these guys gambling? I don't understand it. Do you really need to gamble? It can't be for the money. You got $40 million or whatever you make a year, so you're not doing it for the money. Just retarded. Not my son. I think it's your son. How would my son know Greg or John? And then the other fact is, I don't have a son. So I don't know if he's saying hello, Dad, to me, or is he saying it to you? But I don't. That's why I don't know who it is. True Boy 208. Sounds like a Bobby's boy. I mean, Bobby's what, 420? He's 208. I don't know. I have two daughters. And then I will have a stepdaughter, Daria's daughter, soon. But I don't have a son. Never had. So we will see. Anyway, anything else, Greg and John? Happy Easter, Bobby. I don't know where you are, but Bobby hasn't been on in a while. He must be busy with the girls or something. Siberia, I'm waiting for a date from Daria. See, again, I haven't heard from Daria all day. She was last on at 141, so it's 159. So she was on 18 minutes ago. Send her a picture of me. So I don't understand how she's on and then can't say hello, I'm working, or now it's add 7 hours. It's 8:48. Is she still working at 8:48? Or is she home? Or is she busy with her daughter? It's not Easter there. Easter's May 5th or April 5th. So it's really confusing. That's what I don't understand about it. When I use logic, that's the problem, is using logic in that I'm using logic going, well, why don't you just text me? Because that's my life. But this is where you're stoic. You've got to put the person in their light. What is she? Is she really? Is she really? Well, maybe she's still working, but she was on, so she was able to get on the phone. But maybe that's to talk to her daughter. She does talk to the daughter a lot, I guess, or maybe she's got a mother and a sister in America. So I don't know. It's hard to understand. But again, I'm not the only one in her life, and um, we're planning about. We are talking. We are trying to meet in Serbia in June because she can only go to Turkey or Serbia because being Russian. And it was cute. She says, "Do you think I'll be safe if I'm Russian?" And I says, "Just don't wear a shirt. I'm Russian. You should be fine. Nobody's gonna bother you because you're Russian. Nobody will know you're Russian. Just even if you talk Russian, they won't know you're Russian. So just smile, and I'll do the talking in English. And, we'll go from there. But anyway, so happy Easter, everybody. Good luck on the baskets. Again, we go Duke under with NC State, and we go Purdue over against Tennessee. So good luck on that. We'll look into football a little bit. So I think I covered everything. The Gambler movie we talk about with James Caan a lot, where he's backwards. He loses and keeps playing. He has no limit and loses 44,000 in the beginning because he doesn't stop losing. Has no window. But then when he starts winning in Vegas, he stops, and then he bets all this money on basketball games that he has. That's way over his bankroll. He has 50,000. He bets 50,000, and he loses. Well, that's why you bet 5,000. That's the whole point of the bankroll. You just bet a little bit on the bankroll, and then you can win. That's the whole point of having a bankroll, is how much you can afford to lose. And then the kid. Okay, well, have your kid. Typical movie. Okay, the girlfriend leaves you. The kid will use to shave points off the game in basketball. You're in over your head. You bet too much. Da. It's the same movie. It's the same thing as that other movie with the guy who's the football handicapper with Al Pacino. The girlfriend leaves you, and you shouldn't bet more than that. You're betting. You're betting over your bank. If you just stick to your bankroll plan and bet a little percentage and grow your bankroll, that's the only way you can win. You can't bet 50 grand when your bankroll is 50 grand and then you lose and there goes your bankroll. It doesn't work like that. Amazing how stupid people are, but that's what we have. So anyway, hopefully I'll hear from Daria today. I don't think so, but then I'll hear from her tomorrow. Oh, I was working. Yeah, I get that, but how do you not say hello? I know she mentioned that bombing in the Moscow Mall. Did you hear about that? And I said, yeah. But I don't think she's mad at me because the Moscow Mall got bond. What did I? I didn't have anything to do with it. So anyway, happy Easter, everybody. Good luck today. Duke under, Purdue over, and no pool. So I'm gonna try maybe to go walk the lake, get some exercise in a little bit. Outside of that, avoid the Bitcoin. It's not backed by anything. It's a Ponzi scheme. Anything Larry Fink says. Economics is not about printing money. It's the more money you print, the less it's worth, especially if it's not backed. This whole MMT is Keynesian. It's bad news. It doesn't work. Only Austrian economics works. The quicker you get that and understand what it is, the better you will be. That's how I started buying gold 3 years ago, because they kept printing money, and I knew that would make the money worthless. So by having Austrian economics, I knew they're going to print the money to death. And when you print the money to death, the answer is gold. So I started buying gold. I bought it in 95, but I bought a lot more once I realized that the dollar's worthless because these idiots are printing it to death. They don't even know that. That's the amazing part, is they listen to MMT like that's the answer. And then they print it to death, and they don't even realize they're printing it to death. I mean, what do we got? A bunch of idiots? You don't know that keep printing the money is going to make it worthless? You don't get that concept? And apparently it's in England too. England and Canada and Euro and the United States, the whole Euro countries keep printing money, and they don't realize it's worthless. I'm surprised Switzerland does not have gold-backed currency. That I question that, because they're supposed to be so smart, and yet they keep printing it too. So I don't know why everybody's printing it. A lot of it's George Soros and his corruption. But anyway, I think that's about it. Good discussion, I think. We covered a lot. Stay away from Bitcoin. Get your money into gold. Silver, gold's going to go up. Like I said, it's 22.33. It is nowhere near its high. Do not sell it. Don't sell it till there's at least a zero after it. And when you do sell it, you don't want to buy these unless it's going directly to pay like a credit card. You're going to sell it and then pay your credit card or something like that. But really, you probably won't owe, because once the dollar goes out, there goes your credit card, goes to zero, or your mortgage on your house, and the value goes zero. And that's going to be another problem. But we'll talk about that another day. Anything else? Greg and John, anything? Bobby, where are you? Happy Easter, everybody. All right. Well, have a good day and good class. And I'll be on tomorrow. Well, I should be on earlier. I'll try to get on. I go to swim in the morning. I could teach first and then go to swim, but I like it the way it's broken up. Gets me out of the house. Then I come back, because if I go to the swim too late, I get too hungry. I used to go at about 5, 6 o'clock. I don't want to eat at 8, 9 o'clock. So that's why I moved it up. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Any questions, comments? Feel free. All right. Again, Duke under and Purdue over are the picks today. And has baseball started? Probably. We'll start looking at that. It takes a couple of weeks because you got to get the pitchers' ERAs down to know who you should bet on and who you shouldn't. So we'll talk about that too. Anyway, happy Easter. Enjoy your day. And if you bet in the basket, good luck. 2-0 yesterday. I actually starting to get the hang of college basketball. Pros, we'll talk about the playoffs from psychological standpoint, which is teams down 2-0 have to win. We're going to bet on them, stuff like that. Anyway, have a good day. Buy your gold, buy your silver. Gold's going to the moon. It's out of COMEX and Bitcoin's in COMEX. Be careful. If you own Bitcoin, get the hell out of it. Take your money and buy gold with it. You can't lose with gold because they can't print it. Okay, Bitcoin, we don't know what it is, but if Larry Fink's in it, I don't want to do business with him. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great Easter.